If you believe a father should never be abused in the house he worked for, subscribe now and tell me in the comments what you would do in my place. Because what my own son did to me is something I will never forget, and this story might change how you see family forever. The bathroom door slammed shut so hard the walls shook. I rushed forward and grabbed the handle. I turned it left. I turned it right. Nothing. I banged the door with my fist. "Daniel," I shouted, "open this door." Then I heard it. Click. The lock. My stomach dropped. My heart started beating fast like a drum. I pressed my ear to the door. On the other side, my son spoke in a calm voice, like he was talking about something small. "You will stay there," he said, "for as long as I want." I froze. My own son, the boy I raised, the child I carried on my shoulders. I pulled the handle again until my hands hurt, still locked. I knocked again, this time softer. "Please," I said, "this is not funny." He laughed. And that laugh did something to my heart. It made me feel small. It made me feel like I was not his father anymore. That was day one. I did not know that I would spend 4 days inside that bathroom. I did not know that I would come out hungry, weak, and shaking. And I did not know that after that, I would sell his house, leave the country, and never come back. But I did. And when you hear why, you may not blame me. Now let me take you back, so you understand how my life reached this point. My name is Daniel. I am a father. I was never perfect, but I worked hard. I believed if you love your child and give them everything, they will love you back and respect you. I was wrong. My wife died when our son was still young. From that day, I became both parents. I cooked and cleaned. I worked late. I woke up early. I tried to be strong even when my heart was breaking. When my son cried, I held him. When he was sick, I stayed awake with him. When he needed school fees, I found the money, even when it was hard. I told myself, one day he will understand. For many years, it was just the two of us. He used to call me Daddy with a smile. He used to run to the door when I came home. He used to sit near me and ask questions about life. Those days were good. Then he grew older, and things changed little by little. He stopped saying thank you. He started giving me orders. He started acting like I was a problem. At first, I tried to correct him gently. "Talk to me with respect," I would say. He would roll his eyes and reply, "You worry too much." I would sigh and let it go. That was my first mistake. I did not want fights. I did not want noise. I wanted peace in my home, so I stayed quiet even when he said painful things. The biggest mistake I made was about the house. I saved for many years to buy that house. I worked extra jobs. I borrowed money and paid it back slowly. I watched every naira. I prayed every night that I would not fail. When I finally bought the house, I felt proud. But when my son became an adult, I decided to put the house in his name. I did it because I trusted him. I did it because I wanted him to feel safe. I did it because I wanted him to have a future. People even praised me. "Daniel, you are a good father," they said. I smiled and believed it. But the day the papers entered his name, my son changed fast. He started saying things like, "This is my house now. You can't talk to me anyhow here. You are lucky I allow you to stay." Each time he said those words, I felt pain, but I swallowed it. I kept telling myself, he will calm down. He did not calm down. Instead, he got worse. One evening, I asked him a simple question about money. "Can we talk about the bills?" I asked. "The light bill, the water, the food." He slammed his phone down. "Stop disturbing me," he shouted. "I am not disturbing you," I said calmly. "I am your father. We should talk like adults." He stood up and stepped closer to me. "Don't talk to me like you own me," he said. That sentence shocked me. I looked at him closely, trying to see the child I raised, but I only saw anger. I felt my own anger rise, but I pushed it down. I didn't want trouble. I decided to walk away. I went into the bathroom to calm my heart. I wanted to wash my face and pray. I wanted peace. That was when I heard his footsteps behind me. I turned around. He was standing at the door, staring at me. "What?" I asked. He did not answer. He just pushed the door closed. Then I heard the lock click. At first, I thought it was a joke. I laughed a little and said, "Open this door." No answer. I knocked again. "Daniel, stop this." Silence. Minutes turned to hours. My mouth got dry. I drank water from the tap. I sat down and waited. Surely he would open it soon. Surely he would feel sorry. Night came. The light stayed on. My body started to ache. I slept sitting on the floor, my back against the wall, because there was no bed, no pillow, nothing soft. When I woke up, the door was still locked. That was when fear entered fully. Because I finally understood something. He was not joking. He was serious. I knocked hard. "Please," I shouted. "Open the door, people will hear." His voice came through, calm again. "No one will help you," he said. "This is my house." My heart broke. If you are listening right now, think about this question. How can a child who was loved become someone who enjoys hurting their own parent? I sat on the cold floor and tried to breathe. Then I heard his footsteps leaving. And the house became quiet. Too quiet. And that was when I realized I might be trapped for a very long time. Because my son was not angry anymore. He was enjoying it. And outside that door, he was about to do something that would make the next 4 days feel even more frightening. The second day started with my stomach hurting. Not the normal kind of hunger you feel when you skip breakfast. This hunger was sharp. It felt like my belly was squeezing itself. My mouth tasted dry and bitter. My eyes were sore from the bright light that stayed on all night. I pushed myself up from the floor. My back was stiff. My legs felt weak, like they might bend the wrong way. I walked to the door and knocked again. "Daniel," I said, trying to sound calm. "Open the door, please." No answer. I put my ear to the door. I listened. I heard the sound of the television in the living room. He was watching TV while I was locked inside. That made my hands shake. I knocked harder. "Are you hearing me? I'm hungry." Still nothing. I turned to the sink and drank water from the tap. I drank slowly because my throat hurt. I looked around the bathroom like maybe I would find something to eat. There was nothing. Only soap, towels, toothpaste. I sat down again and tried to think. "Stay calm," I told myself. "He will open it soon." To keep myself busy, I started counting time. I counted the seconds. I counted the minutes. I tried to remember the last meal I ate, rice and stew. It felt like it was a long time ago. Then my mind started traveling to the past. I remembered when Daniel was small and afraid of the dark. He used to run into my room at night. "Daddy," he would whisper, "I had a bad dream." I would pull him close and say, "I'm here. Nothing will hurt you." Now the same child was hurting me. I didn't understand it. By afternoon, the heat in the bathroom became strong. The air felt thick. I sat near the door, hoping he would hear me better. I knocked softly again. "Please, my son, I am your father." This time I heard footsteps. Hope rose in my chest, so fast it almost hurt. His voice came through the door. "Stop calling me your son," he said. "You like to act like you own me." I felt tears come to my eyes. "I don't own you," I said. "I love you." He laughed. "Love? You just want to control me." Control him. I almost shouted, but I held myself back. I knew shouting would make him enjoy it more. I said, please, just open the door, let's talk. His voice became cold again. No, he said, you will stay there until you learn. Then he walked away. I sat on the floor and held my head in my hands. My body felt tired. My heart felt tired too. That was the low part of the day. But then something else happened. I began to see the truth. I began to see that this was not only Daniel's fault. It was also my fault. Because I allowed him to grow without strong rules. I allowed disrespect because I did not want trouble. I thought kindness meant always giving in. Now I understood something important. Kindness without boundaries can turn into danger. In the evening, I heard him talking on the phone outside. He was laughing. Yeah, he's inside, he said. He'll calm down. My eyes opened wide. He was talking about me like I was a thing. Like I was not a human being. I stood up and knocked again, angry now. Daniel, I shouted, open the door now. The laughter outside stopped. Then his voice came close to the door. If you shout again, I will leave you longer, he said. My heart sank. I stopped. I sat down again, breathing hard. Later that night, the door opened slightly. Just a little bit. A hand pushed something inside. A small plate with 2 slices of bread and a cup of water. Then the door closed again. Click. The lock. I stared at the bread like it was gold. I ate slowly. I saved half of it for later because I did not know if I would get food again. As I ate, I realized something. He wanted me alive. But he also wanted me scared. He wanted to feel powerful. That thought made my stomach turn. The third day came, and I felt weaker. My head was hot. My mouth was dry again. I walked to the door and knocked softly. My son, I said, I feel sick. No answer. I sat down and waited. And then I heard something that made my blood run cold. The sound of a key turning, but not on the bathroom door. It sounded like the front door. I crawled closer to the bathroom door and pressed my ear to it. I heard him leave the house. He was going out, leaving me locked inside. Alone. If there was fire, I would die. If I fainted, no one would know. If I shouted, nobody would hear from outside. My hands started shaking again. My heart began to race. Because now I understood this was more dangerous than I thought. My son was not just punishing me. He was risking my life. And as I sat there in the bright bathroom light, listening to the house become empty, I realized I had to survive this. Because if I survived, I would never live under his control again. And the next thing that happened would prove he was willing to go even further than I imagined. The third day felt longer than the first 2 days together. I did not know if it was morning or afternoon. The bathroom light stayed on all the time and my body felt slow and heavy. When I stood up, my legs shook. When I sat down, my head felt like it was floating. I walked to the door again and knocked very softly. Daniel, I said, please, I am weak. No answer. I leaned my back against the door and slowly slid down to the floor. The tiles were cold, but my skin felt hot. I was sweating and shaking at the same time. I drank water from the tap, but it did not help much anymore. My stomach was empty. My mouth felt dry even after drinking. I closed my eyes and tried to rest. That was when my mind started playing tricks on me. I thought I heard my wife's voice, soft and gentle. Be strong, it said, you will survive. I opened my eyes quickly. Nothing. Just the bathroom. I pressed my hands together and prayed quietly. I asked God to keep me alive. I asked for strength. I asked for wisdom. I promised myself something in that moment. If I came out of this bathroom alive, I would never allow anyone to treat me like this again. Not even my own son. Some time later, I heard footsteps again. Hope rose in my chest, but this time I did not knock. I stayed quiet. The footsteps stopped at the door. "Say something," my son said. I did not answer. "Why are you quiet now?" he asked. I still did not answer. There was a long pause. Then he spoke again, this time in a strange voice. "You think staying quiet will change anything?" I closed my eyes and stayed silent. He sighed loudly. "You are stubborn." Then he walked away. For the first time, I felt something change. My silence made him uncomfortable. That thought gave me a little strength. Later that day, I heard the sound of cooking in the kitchen, pots clanging, water running. The smell of food reached the bathroom door and my stomach twisted painfully. I pressed my hand against my mouth so I would not cry out. I did not beg. I stayed quiet. After some time, the door opened slightly again. Another small plate came in. This time, there was a little rice and water. I whispered, "Thank you." No answer. I ate slowly like before. Each bite gave me a little strength but also anger. He was feeding me just enough to keep me alive. Nothing more. As night came, my body felt worse. My head was hot. My thoughts were slow. I lay on the floor and stared at the ceiling. I thought about my life. I thought about the house. I thought about all the times I told people, "My son will take care of me when I am old." I almost laughed. Sometime during the night, I heard him arguing on the phone. His voice was loud and angry. "No, it's my house," he said. "I can do what I want." My heart skipped. My house. That sentence burned in my chest. I remembered the papers, the documents, the proof that I paid for everything. I remembered where I kept them. That thought became a small light in the darkness. The fourth day came slowly. My body felt very weak now. My hands shook even when I lifted them. My vision blurred sometimes. I sat near the door and tried to stay awake. I knocked one last time. "Daniel," I said softly, "I am not well." This time, he answered almost immediately. "You are fine," he said. "You like to pretend." Pretend. That word hurt more than hunger. I stopped knocking. I closed my eyes and waited. Hours passed. Then suddenly the lock turned. Click. The door opened wide. Bright light from the living room rushed in. Fresh air hit my face. I looked up slowly. My son stood there, arms crossed, looking down at me. "Come out," he said. "You should know better now." I tried to stand, but my legs gave way. I grabbed the wall and slowly pulled myself up. My whole body hurt as I stepped out of the bathroom. The house looked normal. Too normal. The couch was clean, the TV was on, food was on the table. It felt like I had been in a different world. I sat down heavily on the couch, breathing hard. My son stood in front of me. "If you ever talk to me like that again," he said, "it will be worse next time." Worse. That word echoed in my head. I looked up at him. I saw no regret. No shame. Only pride. That was the moment something inside me broke and became very clear. This would happen again. Maybe not today. Maybe not tomorrow. But again. I went to my room slowly and lay on the bed. My body was tired, but my mind was awake. Planning. Remembering. Deciding. Because now I understood the truth. I was not safe in that house. And as I lay there listening to him move around like nothing had happened, I heard a sound that made my heart stop. The sound of him opening my drawer. The drawer where I kept my important papers. And I knew in that moment that the next step he would take could change everything forever. I stayed very still on the bed. My heart was beating fast, but I did not move. I listened carefully as my son opened drawers and moved things around in my room. Papers rustled. The small box under my bed was dragged out. My box. The one I never talked about. I closed my eyes and prayed silently. I hoped he would not understand what he was looking at. I hoped he would get bored and leave. After some minutes, the noise stopped. I heard his footsteps move away from my room. I waited. Only when the house became quiet did I slowly sit up. My whole body still felt weak from the 4 days in the bathroom, but fear gave me strength. I got up and went to my drawer. The box was still there, but it had been moved. My hands shook as I opened it. The papers were messy, but they were all there. The house documents, the bank records, the receipts. He had looked, but he did not understand. That was when I knew something important. I still had time. The next few days were strange. My son acted normal, like nothing bad had happened. He watched television. He laughed on the phone. He went out and came back late. He did not talk about the bathroom. He did not say sorry. He acted like a king who had won. I acted weak. I moved slowly. I spoke softly. I did not argue. I let him believe he had broken me. Inside, I was doing the opposite. I was planning. Early one morning, while he was asleep, I left the house quietly. My body still felt tired, but my mind was clear. I went straight to a lawyer's office. Sitting there, I told the lawyer everything. I told him about the house, the documents, and what my son had done to me. The lawyer listened without interrupting. His face became serious. "That is abuse," he said, "and you are not powerless." I swallowed. "The house is in his name." "Yes," he said, "but you paid for it and you have proof." Hope rose slowly inside me. "What can I do?" I asked. He explained everything in simple words. He told me the steps. He told me the risks. "If you do this," he said, "your relationship with your son will end." I nodded. "It already ended in the bathroom," I replied. When I left the lawyer's office, my legs felt weak again, but my heart felt lighter. That evening, my son came home and saw me sitting quietly in the living room. "You look tired," he said. "I am," I replied. He smiled, satisfied. "Good, rest." I watched him walk away. The next days moved slowly. The lawyer worked. Papers were prepared. Calls were made. Everything was done quietly. One afternoon, a stranger came to look at the house. My son noticed immediately. "Who was that?" he asked. "Just someone checking something," I said calmly. He laughed. "Checking what? This is my house." I said nothing. The stranger left after some time, nodding his head. That night my son seemed uneasy. He asked more questions. "Why are people coming here?" "Don't worry," I said. "Everything is fine." He stared at me, suspicious, but said nothing. Inside my room, I packed a small bag. Clothes. My passport. The documents. I hid the bag carefully. 2 days later, the lawyer called me. "Everything is ready," he said. "You only need to sign." My heart pounded. This was it. The next morning, I left the house before my son woke up. I went to the lawyer's office and signed the papers with a steady hand. The house was sold. Just like that. When I stepped outside, the air felt different, lighter, free. I went back home and waited. My son came back later that day, smiling, until he saw the serious look on my face. "We need to talk," I said. He rolled his eyes. "You like talking too much." "The house is sold," I said calmly. He froze. "What?" he asked. "I sold the house," I repeated. He laughed loudly. "You are joking." I placed the papers on the table. His smile slowly disappeared as he read. "This is fake," he said, his voice shaking. "It is real," I replied. His anger exploded. He shouted. He cursed. He threw a chair across the room. You planned this, he yelled. Yes, I said quietly. He stepped closer to me, his eyes wild. You will regret this, he said. For a moment, fear touched my heart again. Then I remembered the bathroom door. The lock. The darkness. The hunger. I picked up my bag. I am leaving, I said. He blocked the door. You are not going anywhere, he said. I looked at him calmly. Move. Something in my voice made him step back. I opened the door and walked outside. Behind me, he shouted my name. I did not turn. As I walked down the street, my phone started ringing. I stopped. I looked at the screen. It was my son calling. I hesitated, then answered. What he said next made my heart sink and my hands shake. And I knew the final moment had arrived. I held the phone to my ear, my hands shaking. Dad, my son said. His voice was not strong anymore. It was small, afraid. They are here. Who is here? I asked. The police, he whispered. And the new owner. They say I have to leave the house today. I closed my eyes. So it had happened. I stood there on the quiet street, holding my small bag, listening to the sound of his breathing on the phone. I could hear voices behind him. I could hear doors opening and closing. I could hear his world falling apart. Dad, he said again, please come back. Tell them this is a mistake. 4 days. 4 days locked in a bathroom. 4 days of hunger. 4 days of fear. I remembered knocking on the door. I remembered begging. I remembered the sound of the lock. This is not a mistake, I said calmly. You can't do this to me, he cried. You are ruining my life. I looked down the road in front of me. Cars were passing. People were walking. Life was moving forward. You ruined our life first, I said, when you locked me in that bathroom. He went quiet. For a moment, there was only noise in the background. Then his voice came again, softer than before. I was angry, he said. I didn't mean it. I was angry too, I replied. But I chose not to hurt you. I chose to leave. They are taking everything, he said. I have nowhere to go. My chest hurt. He was still my son. That truth did not disappear. But pain does not remove consequences. You will find a place, I said, just like I will. Dad, please, he begged. This was the hardest part. If you learn anything from this, I said slowly, learn that power without respect destroys families. I ended the call. I stood there for a long time holding the phone. My heart hurt, but it was quiet inside. The storm was over. That same day, I went to the airport. I did not tell anyone. I did not look back. I bought a one-way ticket. As the plane lifted into the sky, I looked out the window. The city became smaller and smaller until it disappeared. I thought about my son as a little boy. I thought about the house. I thought about the bathroom door. And I understood something important. Being a parent does not mean losing your dignity. Love does not mean allowing abuse. And silence should never be mistaken for weakness. I started a new life in another country, a small room, simple work, quiet days. No shouting. No fear. No locked doors. Sometimes my phone rings with numbers I do not know. I do not answer. Because some doors, once closed, should never be opened again. I never went back. And for the first time in many years, I was free.